Well, my goodness, I just keep lying, don't I? You know, I sort of losing my interest in having some low light catch the top of these trees fading to dark. You know, as I went into it and saw how much more sophisticated I made this tree line, I thought, to do that, maybe it's bit more suited to a very small panel like an 8 by 10 or a 5 by 7 or something. Or a very large painting, in which case it becomes quite involved and you can do any number of other things on it. So we're abandoning that idea. As you can see, we're having a little bit of light on this cabin here, now that I painted it in. I had a trunk or two coming in front of the cabin, decided, nope, we're going to make this more about the cabin now. A few younger spruces in front. Well, they look like spruces. They're more than likely pine trees, I suppose. I think that as I have this one and these two beside the cabin, framing the cabin, I should probably also have maybe another one poking up behind it somewhere, behind the roof here or maybe over here. Or simply use some of these colors sticking up behind the roof, because right now we have, again, the goalpost thing going on, We have this greenish blue, purple red in the middle. Right above it, we've got this going on. It's not a big deal. It's just getting into, a little bit tricky territory, I suppose. Anyway, I put out 2 videos today and I just thought, that's going to be good enough, and I just wanted to keep painting. And it kept going okay, so I'm sorry. I know that some of you are probably yelling at your computer saying, Phil, would you shut up already? That's enough for one day. I would have made a longer video, like a much longer video. I still haven't figured out my editing to splice these things together. I know it's simple. I hear it's simple all the time. I simply haven't gone through the effort of doing it. And when it comes to things like that, I'm very stupid. So we'll stick to stuff that I'm a little smarter at, and I'm going to grab this brush, which is practically, except for staining a canvas, and it's too small for that. It's pretty much ruined for my purposes. If you have different techniques, different ways of painting, it's still a good brush, but the bristles are getting very short. So I think what I'm going to do is just muck around, just for the fun of it. I'm going to stick to the Muskegee idea in the foreground. I'm just going to play. That's really all I'm doing. So I'm going to take some raw umber. I'm not going to lay a lot of paint on, because that way I'll be able to go over it later, refine things a little bit. But I'm going to grab some raw umber here, and there's a dip. I don't want that. I don't want the dip to be lined up with that. I'd like it to be much more to the left. But I'm going to give myself more information here, just for the fun of it. So a little bit of raw umber, ultramarine, no, a little bit of raw umber and alizarin crimson. And cobalt blue. A little bit of that, not too much, because that gets too much, I don't want to compete with this cabin. A little bit of white. Again, I don't want to go too white yet, because that's the kind of thing I want to do later in the painting. Remember, light over dark. Okay. And just throwing some colors in here and there. With a really shoddy brush. Now, because I'm just going mid-tones and I'm adding paint thinner right now, I'll have the ability to, well, really, this is a wash-in over a stain, right? Sorry, this is a wash-in over a stain. That was over a stain. Lots of layers. I'm definitely going to go darker in the foreground because now instead of up here, we're going to have light down here, a little more interest. Now we're kind of forming a painting more in a conventional way. Yes, I know that you work from distance to foreground, but you also work all over the painting in a sense. Okay, I think that's still doing the right thing. Still with our yellow ochre, you know, really, really toned down. And our fraying brush. See, I've still ended up. It must be some kind of weird subconscious thing. Okay, then let's move it to the left a little more. Something like that. Okay, so we have some music in the foreground now. Already, just like that. It can all be painted over. It can be obliterated. It can be worked with. Certain areas I'm happy with can be completely left alone. And for the moment, I'll leave it completely alone. Now let's just pop in. Sorry, I just keep bumping the tripod with my elbow. Let's pop in on these trees. Let's visit them for a moment. I painted them in to begin with to be cool, not getting any light on them. And now that I would like to have a little more light on them, they are still a blue-green colored tree, but because I stayed dark, now I can lay a little bit of sunlight, some shots of light here and there. I can also, yeah, I can, no, do I want to put one there? No, because then we end up with this. Maybe I'll just put a short bit in here. I can just lay a bit of light over it and lighten things up a little bit, and that works just fine. Not an issue at all. How's that? That's going to work. That's going to work okay for. That's going to work okay for something about here. Grab a little bit of white because that's not quite standing out enough. Whoops, sorry about that. I do hate that camera at that angle, but I think it probably shows what I'm doing a lot more clearly. Hopefully not getting my head in the way too much. Okay. What do we have here? We have a young up-and-comer. Some cocky young lad who thinks he knows better. Just trying to poke out of the soil there. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I think that works. Okay, clean my brush out. And a touch more alizarin crimson. I'm running out of that stuff. So I'll just give myself a little bit for the moment. Okay, a little alizarin crimson, a little bit of red sienna, a little bit of raw umber. Okay, I got a little bit careless along that roof line, so let's strengthen that. Let's also cut into the edge of this. That really makes it show. It's funny, you know, you can look at these areas and think, oh, that's dark enough, I don't need to go over it, but when you do go over it with some really dark paint, you'll see that tree pop out, hey? See what I mean? I'm not so worried about it over here, because we're not, this isn't the focal area. Difference between dark and light is not as important there as it is here. Okay. Give that brush a wipe. And go back to our cobalt blue, red sienna. Go back over that tree a little bit. And seeing as we put that little guy in there, we may as well give him some love, hey? Okay, I think that makes for a better chorus of blue stuff there. Greenish blue, I should say. Okay, I better leave it at that. I'm going to be destroying your brain cells if I do more of this today. And my brain cells, actually. Sorry. All right. That is definitely enough for today. Yeah, I like that though. You know, we're stepping back. And you know, again, it's just on a square format, on a painting that's it's not the size of a study, like a tiny study. It can be the size of a study, but I haven't started it that way because I did all this. You know, we put all those detail in. When I put all that detail in, the demands that I put detail elsewhere, and life elsewhere. The only way I could see competing with that is by putting some more light down below here. Wait a minute. I can't let you go just yet. I still haven't done what I said I would. pretty sure that to start with, I said I was going to put a little bit of sunlight, or at least light. Okay, cobalt blue, burnt sienna, white. Okay, that little guy is awfully wet for me to be doing that. Okay, now those trees appear less flat. They have more shape to them. Talk to you soon.